Hello class! So in this video, our topic is all about exploring random variables. So a random variable is a function that associates a real number with each element in the sample space. So when we say sample space, it is a collection of possible outcomes of a random experiment. So it is a variable whose values are determined by chance. Thus, in a simple words, a random variable is a numerical quantity that is derived from the outcomes of a random experiment. So let's have an example of a random variables. So for letter A, in the experiment of tossing a coin, the number of times that the coin turns up ahead is an example of a random variable. So, dito, ang binigay kong example is yung number of times na nag-turn yung coin as head. Then, pwede rin naman na ang other random variable natin dito is yung kanyang tail. Okay? Then, for letter B, suppose two dice are rolled. The sum of the two numbers that face up is an example of a random variable. So, ang ating random variable dito is yung sum ng two numbers na binigay ng ating dice. Then, pwede rin naman na ang gamitin natin is yung difference ng dalawang number na yon. No? So, marami tayong pwedeng maging example ng random variable sa isang event natin or sa isang experiment. Okay? So, letter C, suppose the spinner shown below is spun. So, we have 4 numbers sa ating spinner. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, ang pwede nating random variable sa case na to or sa experiment na to is the number of times that the spinner stops at number 3. Okay? So, pwede rin namang number 1, number 2, or number 4. Okay, so next is let's have the steps on how to find the value of the random variables on any events or experiments. So, this time guys, hahanapin natin yung value ng ating random variables. So, ang step 1 natin is we need to assign letters that will represent each outcome. Number 2, determine the sample space. So, kukunin natin lahat ng possible outcomes ng ating experiment. Then number 3 is we will count the number of the random variable. So, let's have example number 1. Suppose 3 coins are tossed. Then let x be the random variable representing the number of heads. So dito, ang ating random variable is yung the number of heads that will occur. So find the values of the random variable x. Okay? So first, mag-assign muna tayo ng letters sa ating mga possible outcomes. So since magtotoss tayo ng coin, so let's say let H represents the head. Then si T naman para sa ating tail. Okay? So conduct natin yung experiment natin in tossing 3 coins. So sa ating coin number 1 or sa ating first coin, so we have 2 possible outcome na pwedeng mangyari, no? Pag nag-toss tayo ng ating coin. So, pwedeng magkaroon tayo ng head. Then, at the same time, pwede rin tayong magkaroon ng tail as ating possible outcome. Okay? Next is for coin 2. Then, after natin magawa yung ating first experiment sa coin 1, sa coin 2 naman, so, syempre, for the same event na nagkaroon tayo ng head, sa coin 2 natin, possible din na magkaroon tayo ng head sa ating coin 2, then pwede rin naman maging tail. So, ililist natin yan. Okay? Next is for the tail. Kung tail naman ang ating coin 1, sa ating coin 2, possible din magkaroon tayo ng heads. then tail. Okay? Then for the last coin natin, yung ating coin 3, sa event na nagkaroon tayo ng heads, ang coin 3 natin, possible magkaroon din ng heads or tail. Okay? So, may dalawa na tayong event na nabuo. We have heads, and pwede rin namang head, tail. Okay? So, next is head and tail naman tayo sa coin 1 and coin 2. So, sa coin 3 natin, possible na magkaroon din tayo ng head, then tail ulit. Okay? Then, gawin natin yung same procedure dun sa baba na tail yung ating coin 1. So, pwedeng magkaroon din tayo dito ng head, then tail. Then, kung tail naman ang ating coin 1 and coin 2, yung coin 3 natin, possible din naman magkaroon ng head or tail. Okay? Then, after natin magawa yan, so pwede na natin i-list down yung ating sample space or yung ating mga possible outcomes. Okay? So, kung mapapansin nyo, we have 8 possible outcomes. Di ba? So, una, pwedeng magkaroon tayo ng head. Pangalawa, pwede naman tayong magkaroon ng head, tail. Then, sa pangatlo, we have head, tail, head. Then, pang-apat, we have head, tail. 5, we have tail, head. Then sa 6 natin, we have tail, head, tail. Sa ating 8 and 9, 7 and 8 naman, we have tail, head, and tail. Okay? So after natin ma-list down our all possible outcomes, pwede na natin ngayon guys makuha yung values ng ating random variable x. Kung saan, ang ating variable x is yung number of heads. Okay? So, sa ating first outcome, ang number of heads natin ay 3. Sa second outcome, we have 2. Then sa pangatlo, we have 2. Then 1. Then number of heads, we have 2. Then 1. Then 1. Then sa ating last outcome is 0. Okay? So as you can see, meron lang tayong 4 values doon sa ating random variables, which is yung 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay? So, the possible values of random variable x are 0, 1, 2, and 3. And we can also say that x is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay? So, nakuha ba guys kung paano natin hinanap yung mga possible values ng ating random variable x? So, next, let's have example number 2. So, suppose there are 2 people to be tested in COVID-19. So, let x be the random variable representing the number of infected person that occur. So, find the values of the random variable x. Okay? So, ang first step natin dito, mag-assign tayo ng letters dun sa ating mga possible outcome. So, let P na dun sa mga nag-positive and N naman doon sa mga nag-negative sa COVID-19. Okay? So, since dalawang tao lang yung ating pinag-uusapan dito, so, lagay natin dito yung ating first person and yung second. Okay? So, doon sa unang tao guys, so possible na pwede siyang magkaroon ng, pwede siyang mag-positive. Then kung siya naman ay magpa-positive, maaari naman na yung pangalawang tao ay mag-positive or pwede ring mag-negative. Okay? Then kung yung unang tao naman or yung unang tinest sa COVID-19 is nag-negative, so possible din naman na yung pangalawa na tinest sa COVID-19 is mag-positive or mag-negative. Okay? So kung bibilangin natin yung event natin, we have 4 possible outcome. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So kung ililist down natin yan, yung mga possible outcomes natin is pwedeng maging positive, positive, or positive, negative. Then pwede rin namang negative, positive, then negative, negative. Okay? Then after natin ma-list down lahat ng mga possible outcomes natin, pwede na natin guys makuha yung values ng ating random variable x. Then ang ating napiling variable is yung number of infected person. Okay? Infected person. So, dun sa ating first outcome, meron tayong dalawang positive. Sa ating second outcome, meron tayong isang positive. Sa third outcome, we have one positive. Then dun sa ating last possible outcome ay 0 yung nag-positive or yung infected. Okay? So, the values of the random variable natin is 0, 1, 2. Okay, so next, let's have the two types of random variables. So, the first type of random variables is yung discrete random variable. So, this variable can only take a finite number of distinct values. So, the values are exact and can be represented by non-negative whole numbers. So, meaning, sa discrete random variable natin, yung values natin dito was na-obtained by using counting. Okay? Or binibilang. While in a continuous variable, it can assume an infinite number of values in an interval between two specific values. So they can assume values that can be represented not only by non-negative whole numbers, but also fractions and decimals, and are often results of measurement. So, the main difference ng continuous variable kay discrete is si continuous variables, meron siyang mga fractions or decimals. Then, at the same time, yung kanyang mga values is na-obtained through measuring. No? While sa discrete is by counting tayo dun. Or puro whole numbers lang. Okay? So next, let's have an example. So classify the following random variables if discrete or continuous. So for letter A, number of patients per day at hospital ng Muntinlupa. So dito, ang ating variable is yung number of patients. So para makuha natin guys yung number of patients natin is ang gagawin nyo lang dyan is bibilangin or by counting. Okay, so it means na this variable is an example of a discrete variable. Okay, next for letter B, we have temperature of the COVID-19 patients. So since pinag-uusapan dito is temperature, and alam naman natin, para makuha natin yung temperature ng isang patient is kailangan nating i-measure. Okay? Then at the same time, possible tayong magkaroon dyan ng mga decimals na value. So it means na yung letter B natin is a continuous. Okay? For letter C, the number of male athletes. So again, puro whole number lang tayo dyan or magbibilang since ang usapan natin dyan is the number of male athletes. So, it means this is a discrete variable. Okay? For letter D, the amount of sugar. So, ma-obtain lang natin yung amount ng sugar in a cup of coffee through measuring. Okay, so it means this is a continuous. Okay? Then last one, letter E, is the number of deaths infected by COVID-19 in Muntinlupa. So, since yung number of deaths natin is binibilang lang guys, so hindi naman natin kailangan i-measure yon. And at the same time is, yung mga values natin dyan is finite numbers or non-negative whole numbers lang. So, this is a discrete variable. Okay? So, this is the end of our video. I hope may natutunan kayo. So, if you have questions or clarifications, kindly put them in the comment section below. So, thank you guys for watching. This is Prof D. I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye!